Dr. Kira Velthari stood in her pristine medical office aboard Galactic Medical Station Nexus 7. Her blue-scaled hands moved across the holographic display as she reviewed the morning reports. The station orbited peacefully around the neutral trade world of Hemera Prime, its gleaming white corridors filled with the quiet hum of advanced medical equipment. Kira had spent 23 years treating the galaxy's most dangerous creatures. Her office walls displayed certificates from treating Corvan Deathstalkers, Rigelian acid spitters, and even the legendary shadow cats of Proxima 9. She was considered the finest veterinarian for apex predators in 3 sectors. The emergency alert chimed through her office with urgent red pulses. Kira touched the communication panel with one clawed finger. The image of a desperate human face appeared before her. The man had dark hair and worried brown eyes. His uniform bore the insignia of a colony ship captain. "This is Captain Daeho Kim of the civilian vessel New Dawn," the human said. His voice carried exhaustion and pain. "We have 17 critically wounded survivors from a pirate attack. Our medical officer is among the injured. We need immediate assistance." Kira leaned forward in her chair. She had never treated humans before, but medical emergencies demanded swift action. "Captain Kim, what is your current location and the nature of the injuries?" "We're in orbit around Hemera Prime. The pirates hit us 3 days ago near the asteroid belt. We lost half our crew." Daeho's voice cracked slightly. "Dr. Biora Lee, our chief medical officer, has severe internal bleeding. We have children with broken bones and adults with plasma burns. Our medical supplies are nearly gone." The urgency in his voice made Kira's decision seem simple. "Transmit your medical files immediately. I'll prepare the emergency bay for your arrival." "Thank you, Doctor. Sending files now." The data stream appeared on Kira's screen. She began scrolling through the medical information, her trained eyes quickly assessing each case. The injuries were severe but treatable. Dr. Biora Lee's internal bleeding would require immediate surgery. Several children had bone fractures that needed setting. 3 adults showed signs of severe plasma burns across their torso. Then Kira's eyes found the species classification at the top of each file. Her blood ran cold. Species: human Homo sapiens. Classification: Classa apex predator. Medical protocol 847C required. Kira's hands trembled as she accessed the medical database. The entry for humans filled her screen with warnings written in bright red text. Humans were classified as one of the most dangerous predator species in known space. The medical protocols were clear and unforgiving. Protocol 847C stated that all Classa apex predators required specialized containment facilities before treatment. The patient must be sedated and restrained in reinforced medical pods. Armed security teams must be present during all procedures. The treatment facility needed isolation barriers rated for military-grade containment. The protocol implementation required a minimum of 14 standard days. Kira stared at the regulations in disbelief. These humans were injured civilians, not dangerous warriors. She had seen the pain in Captain Kim's eyes. Dr. Biora Lee would die long before containment. Protocols could be established. She opened a direct channel back to the human ship. Captain Daeho appeared again, hope shining in his tired face. "Captain Kim," Kira began, her voice heavy with regret. "I have reviewed your medical files. I'm sorry, but I cannot provide treatment at this time." The hope died in Daeho's eyes instantly. "What do you mean?" "These are civilian casualties. We have children who need help. According to Galactic Medical Regulation 847C, humans are classified as Classa apex predators. Treatment requires specialized containment protocols that take 14 days to implement." The words felt like poison in Kira's mouth. 14 days? Daeho's voice rose in desperation. "Dr. Lee won't survive 14 hours without surgery. Please, doctor, they're just hurt people." Kira closed her eyes, feeling the weight of her oath as a healer crushing against the rigid laws of the Galactic Medical Council. "I understand your situation, Captain, but the regulations are absolute. No exceptions are permitted for Classa predator species." "We're not predators. Deho said quietly. "We're farmers and teachers and engineers. The children you're condemning to die have never hurt anyone." "The classification system doesn't consider individual circumstances," Kira replied, hating every word. "I could lose my medical license. The station could face severe penalties." Silence stretched between them. Kira could hear voices in the background of the human ship. Someone was crying. A child was asking why the nice doctor couldn't help them. "What are we supposed to do?" Deho asked finally. "The nearest facility equipped for human medical treatment is the Terran Embassy on Kepler Station. That's a 6-day journey through hyperspace." "We don't have 6 days, we don't have 6 hours." Kira's training as a veterinarian had taught her to read the body language of many species. Humans, she realized, showed pain in their eyes the same way most creatures did. The suffering was real and immediate. "I'm truly sorry, Captain Kim. I wish the regulations were different." "So do I, Doctor. So do I." The communication ended. Kira sat alone in her office, staring at the medical files still displayed on her screen. Dr. B.O. Ra. Lee's photograph showed a young woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. The children's files contained images of scared but brave faces. She had spent her entire career saving the lives of dangerous creatures. She had performed surgery on beasts that could kill her with a single swipe of their claws. She had treated animals whose venom could melt through steel plating. Now she was turning away injured civilians because a computer system labeled them as predators. Kira walked to her office window and looked down at the planet below. Somewhere in the darkness of space, 17 humans were dying because she was too afraid to break the rules. The Galactic Medical Council had created these protocols to protect medical staff from dangerous species. But as Kira stood there watching the stars shine in the void, she wondered who was really being protected and who was being abandoned to die. 3 hours had passed since Kira denied aid to the human ship. She sat in her private research laboratory, surrounded by floating holographic displays showing various alien anatomies. The familiar hum of medical equipment usually brought her comfort, but tonight it felt hollow and meaningless. Sleep would not come. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Captain Deho Kim's desperate face and heard the crying child in the background of their transmission. The regulations were clear, but her conscience was screaming. Kira activated her research terminal and entered her security codes. If she couldn't help the humans directly, perhaps she could at least understand them better. The Galactic Database contained extensive files on every known species, including detailed biological and behavioral studies. She typed human Homo sapiens into the search field. The first results were military reports and threat assessments. Humans were described as highly aggressive territorial predators, with exceptional combat capabilities and dangerous pack-hunting instincts. The reports detailed human conflicts throughout their history, focusing on their capacity for violence and warfare. Kira frowned as she read further. The assessments seemed incomplete, focusing only on humanity's darker moments. Where were the studies of their daily behavior, their social structures, their medical practices? She dug deeper into the database, accessing anthropological studies that most medical professionals never bothered to read. What she found began to paint a very different picture of humanity. Dr. Zenth Corvain, a Centaurian researcher, had spent 5 years observing human colonies. His notes described humans as intensely social creatures, who formed complex emotional bonds that extend beyond immediate family units. He documented countless examples of humans risking their lives to save strangers, sharing resources with those in need, and caring for their elderly and disabled. Kira discovered video footage from the recent pirate attack on the New Dawn. The ship's security cameras had recorded the entire incident. She watched in fascination as the events unfolded on her screen. The pirates had struck without warning, their heavily armed vessels surrounding the civilian colony ship. The footage showed the first moments of chaos as explosions rocked the vessel, and emergency alarms began blaring throughout the corridors. What happened next challenged everything. Kira thought she knew about predator behavior. Instead of fighting each other for escape pods or abandoning the weak, The humans immediately organized into rescue groups. She watched as Sunwoo Park, a young security officer, single-handedly held a critical corridor while civilians evacuated behind him. He had been outnumbered 10-1, but refused to retreat until every non-combatant had reached safety. The camera caught the Jinhan, a schoolteacher, throwing herself over a group of children when debris began falling from a damaged ceiling. She used her own body as a shield, sustaining serious injuries to protect students who weren't even her own offspring. Kira paused the footage and studied the Jin's face. Even in pain, the woman's expression showed only concern for the children beneath her. This wasn't predatory behavior. This was something entirely different. She fast-forwarded through more scenes of the attack. Everywhere she looked, humans were sacrificing themselves for others. Parents pushed their children into escape pods and stayed behind. Medical staff refused to leave wounded patients. Engineers remained at their post to keep life support running while the ship was under fire. Dr. Biora Lee appeared in several clips, working frantically to treat injured crew members even as the ship shook around them. When a piece of shrapnel struck her in the chest, she continued bandaging a child's broken arm before finally collapsing from blood loss. Kira found herself leaning forward, completely absorbed in the footage. These humans weren't acting like apex predators at all. They were behaving like the most altruistic species she had ever studied. She pulled up comparative behavioral data from her own research files. The shadow cats of Proxima 9, despite their fearsome reputation, would abandon wounded pack members to save themselves. The Corvan Deathstalkers showed no protective instincts beyond their immediate offspring. Even the highly intelligent Rigelian acid spitters prioritized individual survival over group welfare, but these humans consistently chose to protect others, even strangers, even at the cost of their own lives. Kira accessed more anthropological records, diving deeper into human culture and society. She learned about human hospitals where medical professionals treated patients regardless of their ability to pay. She read about human disaster response teams who traveled across their planet to help communities devastated by natural catastrophes. The database contained footage of human rescue workers pulling survivors from collapsed buildings, human firefighters running into burning structures to save trapped families, human volunteers distributing food to refugees fleeing war zones. She discovered that humans had a concept called the Golden Rule: treat others as you would want to be treated. This principle appeared in nearly every human culture across their planet, suggesting it was a fundamental part of their nature. The more Kira learned, the more confused she became about the medical classification system. How could a species that consistently demonstrated such selfless behavior be labeled as dangerous apex predators? She accessed the original threat assessment reports and traced their sources. Most of the data came from first contact incidents. Over 2 centuries ago, when human military vessels had encountered alien ships, the assessments focused exclusively on human combat capabilities and defensive responses to perceived threats. No one had bothered to study how humans behaved when they weren't fighting for survival. Kira pulled up footage of human colonies during peacetime. She watched families working together in agricultural fields, children playing cooperative games, communities gathering to celebrate festivals and support those in need. The supposed apex predators were teaching their young to share, to help, to care for others. She found medical records from human hospitals and was amazed by their treatment protocols. Human doctors took oaths to do no harm and provide care to anyone who needed it, regardless of species, social status, or ability to pay. They had established international organizations dedicated to providing medical aid in crisis zones across their planet. The irony was crushing. Humans had developed one of the most compassionate medical philosophies in known space, yet the galaxy's medical establishment refused to treat them based on outdated military assessments. Kira looked at the time display. Dawn was approaching on Hemmer Prime. The human ship was still in orbit, still waiting for help that wouldn't come. Dr. Biora Lee was probably unconscious by now. Her internal bleeding worsening with each passing hour, she stared at the paused footage of the Jin Han protecting the children. The woman's sacrifice reminded Kira of why she had become a healer in the first place. Medicine wasn't about following regulations. It was about preserving life and reducing suffering. For the first time in her career, Dr. Kira Velthari began to question whether the rules she followed so faithfully were worth the lives they cost. Dr. Kira Velthari made her decision at dawn. She could no longer ignore what she had learned about humans. The regulations that prevented her from helping them were based on fear and misunderstanding, not medical science. She gathered her portable medical equipment and secured it in a transport case. Her hands moved quickly but carefully as she selected surgical tools, healing serums, and emergency medications. Everything she took could be explained as routine research supplies if anyone asked questions. The abandoned medical facility on Hemra Prime surface had been closed for 5 years. Budget cuts had forced the Galactic Medical Council to consolidate operations onto the orbital station. The building still had power and basic life support, making it perfect for her secret mission. Kira used her security codes to access a shuttle bay during the night shift change. The small medical transport vessel started quietly, its engines humming softly as she guided it away from the station. Her heart pounded as she descended through Hemra Prime's atmosphere, hoping no one would question her flight plan. The surface facility sat dark and empty in the early morning light. Kira landed in the overgrown medical landing pad and quickly moved her supplies inside. The building felt cold and hollow, but the medical equipment still functioned. She activated her personal communicator and sent a coded message on an emergency frequency. This is Dr. Velthari. Any human vessels in need of medical assistance, please respond on this channel. The reply came within minutes. Dr. Velthari, this is Miran Choi aboard the New Dawn. Are you really offering to help us? Kira recognized the voice as belonging to one of the ship's engineers. Yes, Ms. Choi, I have established a medical facility on the planet's surface. Can you bring your wounded here? Doctor, you could lose your license for this. Why are you risking everything for strangers? The question made Kira pause. Why was she doing this? Because it's the right thing to do. How many critical patients do you have? Dr. Biora Lee is unconscious. Her internal bleeding is getting worse. We have 3 children with broken bones and 4 adults with severe burns. Everyone else has minor injuries. I can handle that caseload. But you need to understand the risks. If the medical council discovers what I'm doing, we'll all be in serious trouble. We understand, Doctor. We'll be there in 30 minutes. Kira spent the time preparing the facility's operating room. She activated the surgical pod and checked the supply of healing gel. The equipment was older than what she used on the station, but it would work. The human shuttle arrived as promised. Kira watched through the facility's windows as the craft landed carefully in the cleared area outside. The side door opened and humans began carrying their wounded companions toward the building. Captain Daeho Kim entered first, supporting Dr. Biora Lee between himself and Miran Choi. The injured doctor was pale and barely conscious, but she managed to look up at Kira with grateful eyes. Thank you, Biora whispered. I know what you're risking for us. Kira helped move her to the surgical pod. Save your strength. We need to stop that internal bleeding immediately. The surgery took 3 hours. Kira worked carefully, using techniques she had developed treating large predators. Human anatomy was similar to several species she knew well, but required delicate adjustments to her usual procedures. Bara's injuries were severe but repairable. A piece of shrapnel had punctured her liver and damaged several blood vessels. Kira sealed the wounds with biofoam and used regeneration stimulators to encourage healing while Baora recovered. Kira treated the other patients. The children were brave and quiet even when she had to reset their broken bones. 8-year-old Tae-young-oh had suffered internal injuries when debris crushed his chest. His small body responded well to the healing treatments but required careful monitoring. The adults with plasma burns needed extensive skin grafts. Kira had never treated human tissue before but found their healing factor was remarkably strong. They recovered faster than most species she knew. As she worked, Kira observed the humans' behavior toward each other. They took turns comforting the children, sharing their limited food supplies equally, and refusing treatment until others with worse injuries had been helped first. Mian Choi proved to be an excellent assistant. Despite having no formal medical training, she quickly learned to hand Kira the right instruments and monitor patient vital signs. Her engineering background helped her understand the medical equipment intuitively. "Your people are remarkable," Kira told her during a break between surgeries. "I've never seen injured patients show such concern for others." Miran smiled tiredly. "That's just who we are, doctor. We take care of each other. It's how we survive." The medical databases describe humans as selfish apex predators. Maybe we can be predators when we need to protect our families, but that doesn't mean we're monsters. Over the next 2 days, word of Kira's secret clinic spread through the underground networks that existed in every port city. Other alien doctors began contacting her, asking questions about her work with humans. Dr. Vexith Moore, a Centaurian physician, arrived on the second day. "I heard you were treating class of predators without containment protocols. I had to see this for myself." Kira showed him around the facility. Dr. Biora Lee was sitting up in bed, helping Tae-young-oh with his physical therapy exercises. The other patients were playing quiet games or reading together. "Where are the restraints?" Dr. Moore asked. "The armed guards? The isolation barriers? I don't need them," Kira replied. "Watch how they behave." Dr. Moore observed the humans for several hours. He saw them sharing meals, telling stories to comfort the children, and helping each other with daily tasks. Not once did anyone show signs of aggression or predatory behavior. "This changes everything," he said finally. "If humans are really like this, then our classification system is completely wrong." "That's what I've been trying to tell the medical council for years," said a new voice from the doorway. They turned to see Dr. Thane Kix, an elderly Andorian physician who had studied interspecies medicine for decades. He walked slowly into the facility, his 4 arms carrying a bag of medical supplies. "Dr. Kix," Kira said in surprise, "what are you doing here?" "I came to help. And to witness what you're doing here." He looked around at the humans. "I've been arguing for medical classification reform for 20 years. Maybe now people will listen." The underground clinic was growing. More doctors arrived each day, drawn by curiosity and conscience. They came to see the dangerous predators who played gentle games with children and thanked their caregivers with sincere gratitude. But Kira knew their secret couldn't last forever. Somewhere above them, the Galactic Medical Council was beginning to ask questions about her absence from the station. The real test was coming soon. Director Quintal Moore stood in the command center of Galactic Medical Station Nexus 7, his 6 eyes scanning multiple data screens simultaneously. The Zilithian official had built his career on strict enforcement of medical protocols, and something was very wrong in his sector. "Dr. Velthari has been absent for 3 days, reported his assistant, Lieutenant Vex. "Her research logs show no scheduled off-station activities." Quintal's mandibles clicked together in annoyance. "Have you checked her personal quarters?" "Empty." "Sir, her medical transport is also missing from Bay 7? Run a planetary scan, find that shuttle." Within an hour, orbital sensors had located Kira's vessel at the abandoned medical facility on Hemerprine's surface. Quintal studied the thermal readings showing multiple life forms inside the building. "Interesting," he muttered. His experience told him that Dr. Velthari was up to something highly irregular. Prepare an enforcement team. Full containment protocols. Meanwhile, on the planet's surface, Kira was performing her morning rounds when Miran Choi burst into the medical facility. "Doctor, we have a problem," the engineer said breathlessly. "Our ship sensors are picking up multiple vessels approaching from orbit, military configuration." Kira's blue scales paled. "How long do we have?" 20 minutes, maybe less." Dr. Biora Lee struggled to sit up in her recovery bed. Her injuries were healing well, but she was still weak. "We won't abandon you, Dr. Velthari. You saved our lives." "You need to save yourselves," Kira replied firmly. Get everyone to your ship and leave immediately. Captain Daeho Kim shook his head. We're not leaving you to face this alone. You risked everything for strangers, now we stand together. Jin Song, a human diplomat who had arrived the previous day seeking treatment for radiation poisoning, stepped forward. Captain, I may be able to negotiate with the authorities. My diplomatic credentials might provide some protection. Young Tae-young-oh, now recovered enough to walk, tugged on Kira's medical coat. Dr. Kira, are the bad people coming to hurt you because you helped us? The innocent question struck Kira's heart. Don't worry about that, little one. The adults will handle this. Hin-Soo Lim, a former military medic who had been helping with patient care, was checking the facility's security systems. We can't fight our way out of this, but we might be able to buy some time. The old tunnel system connects to several buildings in the area. No, Kira said firmly. I won't have humans branded as violent fugitives because of my choices. That would only prove the Classification Council right about your species. The sound of approaching aircraft grew louder. Through the windows, they could see enforcement shuttles circling the facility like predators surrounding prey. Director Quintal's voice boomed through external speakers. Dr. Velfari, you are in violation of Medical Protocol 847C. Surrender. Immediately and release your captives. Captives? Miran laughed bitterly. They think we're your prisoners. Kira activated the facility's communication system. Director Moores, these humans are my patients, not captives. They are injured civilians who needed medical attention. Dr. Velfari, you have been treating Class A apex predators without proper containment. This is a serious breach of galactic medical law. Exit the building with your hands visible and prepare for detainment. Jin Song took the communicator from Kira. Director Moores, this is diplomatic attached Jin Song of the Terran Colonial Administration. I request immediate consultation with your legal department regarding the medical treatment of human civilians. Diplomats do not override medical emergency protocols, Quintal replied coldly. You have 5 minutes to evacuate the building before we implement containment procedures. The enforcement teams were taking positions around the facility. Kira could see armed officers in full containment suits, as if preparing to capture dangerous wild animals rather than treat injured people. Dr. Thane Kicks, who had been treating the burn victims, walked to the window and looked out at the assembled forces. In 40 years of medicine, I've never seen such an overreaction to basic humanitarian aid. They're afraid, said Dr. Bo-Ra Lee quietly. The whole galaxy is afraid of us because of old stories and military reports. They can't see past the fear to recognize that we're just people. Wu Jin Kang, a security officer who had recovered from his injuries, gathered the other humans around him. If they want to arrest someone for receiving medical care, they'll have to arrest all of us together. That's not necessary, Kira began, but Wu Jin cut her off. Doctor, you threw away your career to save our lives. The least we can do is stand with you now. So Young Bae, a communications specialist, was working frantically at a portable transmitter. If I can boost the signal through the facility's old broadcast array, I might be able to send our story to the galactic news networks. What good will that do? Asked Captain Daeho. People need to see what's happening here. They need to know that humans aren't the monsters the regulations make us out to be. Enforcement officers were moving closer to the building. Their weapons were set to stun, but Kira knew that wouldn't matter if Director Quintal decided the humans posed a threat. Dr. Velfari, came the director's voice again, your time is up. Exit now, or we will enter by force. Kira looked around at the humans who had refused to abandon her. Dr. Bo-Ray was struggling to stand despite her injuries. Little Tae-young-oh was holding the hand of another child, both trying to be brave. The adults formed a protective circle around the medical staff. Even though they were still recovering from their own wounds, these were the dangerous apex predators that the galaxy feared so much. People who would rather face arrest than abandon someone who had shown them kindness. So Young, did you get that transmission working? Kira asked. Yes, Doctor. I'm broadcasting on all civilian frequencies. The whole sector can hear us now. Kira, activated the facility's external speakers. Director Moores, this is Dr. Kira Velthari. I am prepared to surrender myself, but I want the galaxy to understand why I broke the regulations. Dr. Velthari, cease all transmissions immediately. No, Director. People need to hear this. Kira took a deep breath. For 3 days, I have treated human patients without containment protocols. I have seen no aggression, no predatory behavior, no violence of any kind. Instead, I have witnessed remarkable compassion, selflessness, and courage. She gestured toward the humans around her. These people have refused to leave me to face arrest alone, even though staying puts them in danger. If this is what apex predators look like, then perhaps our classification system needs serious examination. Dr. Velthari, end this transmission now or face additional charges. Through the facility's windows, Kira could see enforcement officers preparing to breach the building. In a few minutes, everything would be over, but across the galaxy, on hundreds of worlds and space stations, people were listening to her words and beginning to ask questions about the regulations. They had never questioned before. The hunt had begun, but so had something else. Something that would prove more powerful than fear and prejudice. The truth was spreading, one listener at a time. The ancient precursor ruins rose from Hemeroprime's northern desert like the bones of sleeping giants. The massive stone structures had stood for thousands of years, their original builders long forgotten. Now they provided shelter for the most unlikely group of fugitives in galactic history. Dr. Kira Velthari crouched behind a weathered stone wall, checking Dr. Biora Lee's vital signs. The human doctor had insisted on joining their escape from the medical facility, despite still recovering from surgery. Her determination reminded Kira why she had chosen to help these people in the first place. How did we end up here? Miran Troy asked, adjusting the portable medical scanner she carried. The engineer had proven invaluable during their 3-day flight from Director Quinal's enforcement teams. Captain Daeho Kim peered through a gap in the ancient stonework. Because Dr. Velthari refused to let us face this alone, and we refused to let her face it alone either. The chase had begun when enforcement officers stormed the abandoned medical facility. Kira's broadcast had been cut short, but not before her words reached thousands of listeners across the sector. The humans had helped her gather critical medical supplies before escaping through the old tunnel system that Hyansulim had discovered. Now, surrounded by towering precursor monuments, they had finally been cornered. Wu Jin Kong, the security officer, returned from his scouting position among the ruins. Enforcement vessels are setting up a perimeter around the entire site. They've brought everything: assault shuttles, containment units, even a mobile detention facility. How many are out there? Asked Jin Song. The diplomat had been trying unsuccessfully to negotiate their surrender for the past day. At least 200 officers. Director Quintal is taking no chances with what he calls a Classa predator uprising. Little Tae-young-oh looked up from where he sat with the other children. Dr. Kira, are they really that scared of us? Kira knelt beside the boy, her heart breaking at the confusion in his young eyes. They're scared because they don't understand you. Fear makes people do foolish things. So Young Bae was hunched over her communication equipment, working frantically to maintain contact with the outside galaxy. I'm picking up news broadcasts from across known space. Our story is spreading faster than the medical council can contain it. She activated the audio feed. Voices from dozens of worlds filled the air around them. Unprecedented violation of medical ethics protocols. Questions being raised about the classification system. Witnesses report that the humans showed no aggressive behavior. Growing calls for investigation into Galactic Medical Council policies. Dr. Thane Kix, who had escaped with them from the facility, listened to the broadcasts with growing amazement. In 40 years of medicine, I've never seen public opinion shift this quickly. That's because people are finally seeing the truth, said Dr. Biora Lee. We're not the monsters they thought we were. Director Quintal's voice suddenly boomed across the ruins through powerful speakers. Dr. Velthari and human captives, you are completely surrounded. Surrender immediately and no harm will come to you. Jin Song activated their communication device. Director Moores, this is Diplomatic Attach Song. We are prepared to discuss terms for peaceful resolution of this situation. There are no terms to discuss. The humans will be contained according to Protocol 847C, and Dr. Velthari will face trial for endangering galactic medical safety. What if we offered something different? Captain Deho asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. The captain's face was grim but determined. We could surrender ourselves voluntarily. Prove that we're not the threat the protocols claim we are. Absolutely not, Kira said firmly. I won't let you sacrifice yourselves for my decision to help you. Dr. Velthari, said Wu Jingkong, you sacrificed your career for strangers. You risked everything to save people you had never met. That's the most human thing anyone could do. The other humans nodded in agreement. Even the children seemed to understand the weight of the moment. If we surrender peacefully, Dr. Bio-Ra Lee said, we prove that the classification system is wrong about us. We show the galaxy that humans choose cooperation over conflict. But they could imprison you indefinitely, Kira protested. The containment protocols have no time limits. Then that will be on their conscience, not ours, replied Jin Song. Sometimes the right choice isn't the safe choice. So Young Bei looked up from her equipment. I can broadcast our surrender live across the galactic networks. Let everyone see how dangerous apex predators really behave. Hyan-Su Lim was checking their remaining medical supplies. We've treated everyone's injuries as best we can. The children are healthy. The adults are stable. We're in the best condition we're going to be. Miran Choi placed a gentle hand on Kira's shoulder. Doctor, you taught us something important these past few days. You showed us that sometimes one person's courage can change everything. Now, let us show you the same thing, added Captain Deho. Kira looked around at the humans who had become her patients, her allies, and now her friends. They were prepared to walk into captivity to protect her and prove their peaceful nature to a galaxy that feared them. I can't let you do this alone, she said finally. You won't be alone, Dr. Thane Kix announced. I'm surrendering with you. It's time someone challenged these ridiculous protocols officially, so Young Bei activated the broadcast system. Citizens of the galaxy, this is the human refugee group that has been classified as dangerous apex predators. We want you to see what we really are. She turned the camera toward their small group. Dr. Kira Velthari stood with Dr. Bio-Ra Lee, both medical professionals who had sworn oaths to preserve life. Captain Deho Kim held the hands of the children, ready to protect them even in surrender. The other adults formed a protective circle around their most vulnerable members. We are teachers and engineers, farmers and healers, Jin Song spoke into the camera. We are people who believe that helping others is more important than following unjust rules. We surrender ourselves peacefully to prove that humans are not the threat the galaxy believes us to be. Captain Deho activated his communicator. Director Moores, this is Captain Kim. We are prepared to surrender unconditionally. We ask only that Dr. Velthari and Dr. Kix be treated with the respect due to medical professionals who were trying to save lives. All parties will be processed according to established protocols, came the cold reply. We understand, Deho said. We're coming out now. They emerged from the precursor ruins with their hands raised, walking slowly across the desert sand toward the ring of enforcement officers. The children stayed close to the adults, but showed no fear. Dr. Bio-Ra Lee leaned on Mir and Choi for support, but kept her head high. Kira walked beside them, amazed by their courage. These humans were willingly entering captivity to prove their peaceful nature to a galaxy that had judged them without understanding. As they approached the enforcement perimeter, she realized that whatever happened next, the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The dangerous apex predators were surrendering to save their doctor, and everyone was watching. 6 months later, Dr. Kira Velthari stood before the full assembly of the Galactic Medical Council in their grand chambers on Centauri Prime. The massive hall buzzed with representatives from hundreds of worlds, all gathered to witness the most significant medical policy reform in galactic history. The events at Hemera Prime had sparked protests across known space. The image of humans peacefully surrendering to save their alien doctor had been broadcast on every major network. Public opinion had shifted so dramatically that even the most conservative council members could no longer ignore the calls for change. Kira wore her finest medical robes, but the real honor was the small pin on her collar, a gift from the human children she had treated. Tae Young-oh had made it himself from scraps of metal found in the precursor ruins. Dr. Velthari, announced Council Chairman Vorthak Tel, his ancient voice echoing through the chamber. You stand accused of violating Medical Protocol 847C by treating Class A apex predators without proper containment. How do you answer these charges? I accept full responsibility for my actions, Chairman Tel, but I request that this council examine whether those protocols serve the cause of medicine, or merely the comfort of prejudice. A murmur ran through the assembled representatives. In the gallery above, Kira could see familiar faces: Captain Daeho Kim, Dr. Bo Lee-Lerin Choi, and the others who had shared those dangerous days with her. The prosecution presented their case first. Director Quintal Moores took the stand, his 6 eyes gleaming with self-righteous fury. The defendant willfully endangered galactic medical safety by treating humans without containment protocols. These creatures are classified as apex predators for good reason. Their capacity for violence is well documented. Director Moores interrupted. Councillor Yexi Nall from the Andorian delegation, can you provide examples of violence from the humans Dr. Velthari treated? Quintal S. mandibles clicked nervously. The protocols exist to prevent violence, Counselor. The absence of incidents does not invalidate the classification. So you're saying that despite treating 17 humans for 3 days without containment, no violence occurred? The protocols prevented violence by their very existence. A ripple of skeptical murmurs spread through the chamber. The logic was clearly circular. When Kira's turn came to testify, she spoke calmly and clearly about her experiences. Honorable counselors, I have spent 23 years treating the galaxy's most dangerous predators. I have worked with creatures that could kill me with a single claw swipe or poison me with their breath. Never have I encountered a species that showed such consistent care for others' welfare as the humans I treated. She activated a holographic display showing footage from the underground clinic. You see here Dr. Bio-Ra Lee, barely conscious from internal bleeding, still trying to help other patients. You see children with broken bones comforting adults with severe burns. You see Wu Jingkong, a trained security officer, playing gentle games with children instead of planning violent escapes. The footage shifted to their surrender at the precursor ruins. And here you see the most telling moment of all. These supposed apex predators chose captivity over freedom to protect the doctor who had helped them. Councillor Thexan Moore from the Regelian Republic raised a question. Dr. Velthari, are you suggesting that the entire classification system is flawed? I'm suggesting that it's incomplete, Counselor. The current system judges species only on their capacity for violence, not on their choices about when and how to use that capacity. The defense called several witnesses. Dr. Thane Kix testified about his observations of human behavior. So Young Bae presented communication logs, showing how quickly public opinion had shifted. Once people saw humans acting peacefully, but the most powerful testimony came from an unexpected source. Donghayan Ru, the newly appointed human representative to the Galactic Medical Council, took the stand. He was a quiet man with kind eyes and gentle manner that immediately put the chamber at ease. Honorable counselors, he began, my people have been judged by our worst moments rather than our best ones. Yes, humans can fight when threatened, but we can also heal, teach, build, and sacrifice ourselves for others. He gestured toward the gallery where the human survivors sat. These people represent who we really are. Dr. Bio-Ra Lee dedicates her life to healing others. Captain Daeho Kim spends his career protecting civilian colonists. Miran Choi uses her engineering skills to build homes and schools. Representative Ru asked Chairman Tell, "What would you have this council do?" "Create a new protocol that judges species by their actions, not their potential for violence. Establish medical treatment based on need, not fear." The council deliberated for 3 hours. When they returned, Chairman Tell's expression was unreadable. "Dr. Velthari, this council finds you guilty of violating established medical protocols. However, we also find that these protocols were based on incomplete information and outdated assumptions." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle over the chamber. "Therefore, this council hereby establishes the Velthari Protocol, named in honor of the doctor who showed us that medical ethics must be based on compassion, not classification. Effective immediately, no sentient being shall be denied emergency medical treatment based on species classification alone." The chamber erupted in applause. In the gallery, Kira could see tears streaming down Biora Lee's face. Captain Daeho was hugging little Tae-young-oh, who was jumping up and down with excitement, but Chairman Tell wasn't finished. "Furthermore, this council establishes the Galactic Institute for Medical Ethics, to be jointly operated by Dr. Velthari and Representative Ru. Their mission will be to ensure that medical treatment is available to all beings, regardless of species, origin, or classification." 6 months later, Kira stood in the reception area of her new medical facility on New Geneva Station. The integration clinic had become a model for the galaxy, treating patients from dozens of species working side by side. Dr. Biora Lee had become her co-director, bringing human medical knowledge to complement Kira's expertise with alien physiology. They had trained the first class of integrated medical students, including Yuna Kong and Minho Lee, a human and Centaurian who had become the best of friends during their studies. Miran Choi had designed the facility's systems to accommodate the needs of multiple species. Captain Daeho commanded the medical transport vessels that brought emergency cases from across the sector. Even little Tae-young-oh visited regularly, now completely healed and planning to become a doctor himself. "Someday." "Dr. Kira," he said during his latest visit, "do you think other species will learn to understand each other the way you understood us?" Kira knelt down to the boy's level, remembering the first time she had seen his scared face on a medical file. Marked Classa Apex Predator. "I think understanding begins when we choose to see beyond our fears, Tae-young. It starts with one person deciding to do the right thing, even when it's difficult." She looked around at the bustling medical facility where former enemies now worked together to heal the sick and injured. Humans collaborated with Centaurians, Ultrans shared knowledge with Rigelians, and species that had once feared each other now trusted each other with their lives. "And sometimes," she added with a smile, "that choice changes everything." Through the facility's windows, she could see the stars of a galaxy that was slowly learning to judge beings by their actions rather than their classifications. It wasn't perfect yet, but it was better, and that was how progress always began, one courageous choice at a time. The dangerous apex predators had taught the galaxy about compassion, and the galaxy was finally ready to learn.